Hi folks, and welcome back to another episode of this English Malarkey. Today we're in the coastal town of Aberystwyth, and we've got a bit of a special episode because I'm joined today by Dan the Litterman.
Hi guys, I'm Dan, also known as Dan the Litterman on Instagram. I'm joining Jake here today to talk about single-use plastics and recycling. On my page I basically just want to encourage people to do something every day and to change their lifestyle, to make a small but concerted effort to work towards a more sustainable world. Let's get to it. What do you think about single-use plastics?
I think it should be phased out as much as possible. I think there's not enough being done about it, but anything that can be done is a good thing. Yeah. I know in Aberystwyth now the one thing they're really pushing is having water stations in all the cafes, so you can go in and keep filling your water up, it's great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we use it far too much now in our country, in Belgium. I come from Belgium. The single-use carriers are no longer available in shops, so we have to buy some stronger plastic bags. This is a good idea, it's a good thing.
So how do you feel about single-use plastics?
I think it's absolutely diabolical because it's been made in a way that we cannot recycle it. And actually the big question for me is, if we didn't use single-use plastic, what would you use instead? So let me give you an example. A cucumber comes from Spain, all wrapped in single-use plastic. If we're going to have food coming from another country, how would we do that in a different way? And that's the question that has to be asked.
Okay folks, how do you feel about single-use plastics?
I think they should be banned. Okay. It's a ridiculous thing to have. Why we don't need them? There's alternatives. There's a biodegradable cellophane equivalent. We get magazines in that. The way that they break down and they go into the food chain is ridiculous. They should just be banned now.
There's too much of it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they wrap everything now in plastic. They don't need to be. You could have it in paper, which is
like it used to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Greaseproof paper and things from the butchers and
brown paper
in
bags.
a brown
Yeah.
paper bag, which then you would dispose of far easier, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
A major problem is also the bottles, the plastic bottles, which are just used once. Usually, as Belgians are not always very tidy, they dispose of them anywhere along the roads, in the woods, in town, and so that's a major issue. I would be in favour of glass bottles, which are taken back in the shops. Now, also what is less and less in use in our country is the single-use cups.
Single-use cup.
That's also, now you have to purchase a cup when you go to feed something like that, and I think that's great.
Do we really need food and all this wrapped 24/7? And I think plastic on one level is good, but it's about getting the plastic industry to think differently, and also the consumer should be asking a different question. Do I have to have it wrapped in this way? Is there another way of doing it? Do I have to go into a supermarket and have everything in plastic? Why do we wrap bananas in plastic? They're already protected by their external skin. So basically I think it's a whole different mindset of saying we need to do this differently, and it's about having a different conversation about it might not affect you now. If it's not coming to your front, if plastic's not coming to your front door, it doesn't affect me. But if a whole load of plastic came to your front door, would that make you think differently?
Yeah, I agree, and I don't know if any of you have watched the programme with the Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall.
I know about
scary
this.
thing is that the companies that are producing plastics have no intention of stopping producing plastics from their waste. It's petrochemical waste, so they have no intention. Yes, he's talked to some of the supermarkets. They're doing their best. Morrison's now are trialling returning bottles. They've got where were we? Skipton. They've got you take your bottles and your cans in, and you can recycle them, and they give you money towards your shopping. So yes, that's good.
Okay. Can you tell us a bit more about that food chain? What happens there?
What I understand is that they break down into such small particles that then they're ingested in virtually every single life form in the sea. So eventually we will get some of the chemicals, or we'll get some of the plastics. I have a friend who had an allergic reaction to heavy metals, which again is a similar sort of thing. When we had heavy metals going into the rivers, and then they went to sea, they went into the crustaceans. He ate some prawns and nearly died.
Okay, that's really terrible actually.
Yeah.
So it's not bad for just the environment, the animals, but us as well. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's a similar principle, isn't it? Eventually they're going to find, I think they already are finding traces of damaging and carcinogenic chemicals that can be then traced back to plastics.
It hasn't always been like this then, has it?
No,
That's
it's
when
far
we were
worse
all
now.
growing up.
And it's been, I think the media, television, David Attenborough's brought it to light, and I think we're all absolutely horrified by the amount that's washed out to sea and the damage that it's doing.
I mean, on the River Ely near us in the Vale of Glamorgan, I mean, the other day there was sort of about 3 or 4 plastic bottles just going down the river there together at one moment almost. So what it must be like nationwide, worldwide, is, well, as we said, it's unbelievable.
Has Belgium been legislating? Is the government doing things, or is it on a personal level?
No, it's
individual
legislation. For instance, the single-use carriers in shops, it's prohibited now.
According to the latest stats, we've got 15 years to save the planet.
15 years.
Yeah.
It's not very long, I guess.
The planet will be fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they say necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you a believer in that kind
Well,
of
what's
saying?
necessary to do now? It's a bit like, I hate to mention Brexit, but it's about the EU. What has the EU done for me individually? Nothing. But collectively, it's built something different, and that was a question that was never asked. And that's what we have to do with single-use plastic. Is it going to affect my life? No, just dump it in the bin. But if we all dump it in the bin collectively, we've created an eyesore, and we've created something that we don't want to talk about.
We don't need them. That's the bottom line, is we don't need them.
Yeah.
So why have them?
Do you know that about 70 years ago we didn't even use plastics, apparently?
I'm nearly that old.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I can't say that.
I think there's a lot being done at the moment, though, now, to get rid of it. And I think probably in 5 years' time, in this country, I don't think we'll have much single-use plastic at all. I think it's other countries, like the main countries like France and Spain and the other European countries will all probably be on the same sort of level as us, but there's a lot of countries that aren't, and I think that's where the problem will be for the future, is getting the whole world on board, really, which is going to be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
I think in your own home, you've got to start not using plastic bags for everything, cling film for everything, which you do. And I think it's something that we've got to, if you can get eco products that you can refill. I know Ecover do refills, so you get your primary bottle and then you carry on refilling it. That's good. But if they have places where you can put them for recycling, but everything you wear virtually has got plastic in it.
That's right. Hi guys, so I'm Dan the Litterman, helping out with this English Malarkey today. I have an Instagram page on which I promote activism in everyone, doing a little bit every day, picking up litter, which might seem small and insignificant, but if everyone starts doing something, then we can make a change. It's all about individual actions in a larger community, working towards a greater goal. And as we all know and have heard in the media recently, plastic pollution is a hot topic, and it's kind of gone unnoticed for a while, ever since plastics were invented some 70 years ago, and they've kind of crept up, and our usage today is phenomenal. A truckload of plastic is dumped into the oceans every minute.
This is Dan in his natural habitat. That's what he does. Good man. Got anything to say, Dan?
Plastics are bad.
Plastics are very bad. Keep Aberystwyth clean. Nice.
Plastics are bad.
How do you feel when you see the beautiful countryside being polluted like this?
Sad, very, very sad, and very concerned for the future. If it's like, unless it's addressed, it's going to get much worse, and it's
especially for the younger generation coming up. But at least they're being taught about it in schools, which is good.
Yeah.
hopefully.
I think so. So are we taking good steps so far, do you think?
I think this
Some
country
are.
is. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually work in a supermarket, and a lot of customers expect it to happen sort of overnight, but it's just a process and it takes time. And you know, we've got rid of the black plastic already. We've got rid of the single-use carrier bags. They've all gone already.
It turns out plastics have only been around for 70 years, and before that they didn't even exist. So this whole situation, the whole problem's come about since then. When did this whole single-use issue come about? Is it been incremental, or was there a boom in the use of plastic?
I think it's just because it's easy, and you can go into a shop and you can buy a plastic bottle, especially when you've got children. You know, there's less danger of them dropping it and it breaking. But as you say, it's only happened recently, and you don't realise how much you rely on plastics.
I think it's bottled water as well. I mean, going back 20, 25 years ago, people were not walking around with bottles of water all the time. But now everybody's got them.
Glass milk bottles now, as compared to, it's gone all over virtually to the plastic bottle, isn't it? And there is a swing back to glass bottles again now,
which are recycled. They can recycle and reuse them, can't they?
Yeah.
Whereas years ago, they always did.
It's like we're reverting back to that, I guess.
Paper
straws, which we always had in school, paper straws.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which were nice.
It's still not very nice, but
Not better than plastic.
we can live without those.
And do you need a
Plastic has
straw?
come about because it's so easy and so cheap, and it's cutting labour down because they don't have to do. Once it's wrapped, it's not the same. You haven't got to be as careful with a wrap thing as you have with something that's open, have you?
But it's educating people, because there's some societies that can't actually get that idea, and you still see people thinking, well, it's not going to make any difference if I don't do it, but it does.
But then a million people say that, 10 million people say that.
Exactly.
If a developing country is there's an economic driver, I can understand why it'd be difficult for them. Or I don't want to name particular countries, but there's some very large producers of plastic in the world who, it's economics to them. So eventually, if they've not got a market for that plastic, they're going to stop producing it, aren't they?
Exactly. Have you made any changes personally in your life to help reduce plastic at all?
Well, I've tried not to buy things that are wrapped in plastic, or I need to see what's recyclable, and I try to cut down, because living in Wales, it's wonderful because we can recycle. We've got different boxes for different things. So we've got the big black bin box, which they can't recycle, and you have the other boxes, and it's about saying, what do I put into this box today? And that's a completely different way of thinking as opposed to chucking it in a black bin bag. And it's about giving people the information to do it, because you hear about, I don't know what the blue box, the red box, the green box is for. It's another educational thing. And it's a bit like what we can recycle. The good thing in Wales is we do all the food recycling, which is absolutely wonderful. In England they don't, it just gets chucked in a big black bin. And yet Norway wants our excess food to fire up the bioplant. So why aren't we doing it here?
There was something recently on TV about people complaining about wax straws. The wax coated straws. Get a life. Get a life. There's more to life than complaining about wax coated straws.
Yeah. Is that because they were the alternative to plastic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just get a life.
It's because people are used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's about education as well. It's the next generation. They're going to be brought up with the concept of not using plastic, and even the kids at school now, they're all trying not to use it and telling the parents. But as I say, another 5-10 years time, that generation is going to be adults, and it's going to make a difference.
Have you personally made a change in your life, in what you buy, things you use?
As far as I'm concerned, I try. Well, for instance, I like sparkling water and sodas and I use a soda stream. I make it myself.
So that's good. That's organic.
Yes. Now milk we buy it in cardboard boxes, rather than in plastic bottles. As a matter of fact, we try to avoid buying drinks in plastic bottles, but of course sometimes we don't have the choice, like now on holiday, if we pop into a shop because we are thirsty, we feel like a Coke. Usually it's either a can or a plastic bottle.
Especially if there's a major heat wave coming, as there is in continental Europe.
Yes, I saw that yesterday on television.
Single-use plastic bottles will be purchase of will be going sky high during hot weather.
Yes, unfortunately.
Well, thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Thank you for the information, and
You are
it's
welcome.
good to hear what you're doing and what you think.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we can learn a lot from other countries, I guess.
We can learn a lot from other countries, yes, but then Wales has got great water, great sunshine, wind, so let's do a triangulation. Let's see what we can switch on and off in a different way, and let's go out and educate people in a different way and ask a different question.
So, are we doing enough?
No. But I think you said about going into the house, you go into your bathroom and how much plastic is there.
It's all plastic,
All
isn't
plastic, and I'm the first one to admit that everything I've got, my shampoos are in bottles, and I need to look at getting the bars. And so maybe if everybody sort of says, right, we're going to change one thing a month for a year and then one thing a week after that.
I admit that, and I know that friends of mine have got caravans, so when I buy them presents, I tend to buy them the bar shampoos because they're much easier to use when you're travelling.
Yeah.
You tend to use bottles when you're at home,
Yeah.
so we've got to come out of that. I mean, Body Shop do some beautiful bars, so there's no reason why we can't use bars, and I think they should be promoted more and more.
Sometimes you think, how did people live without plastic? Because everything, it's on everything. But
Maybe that's
people did.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing, is to actually find out exactly what everybody used 70 years ago and say, right, try this, because it can't have been that bad.
I can remember I was in Norway and you'd never put your sandwiches in plastic. You had like greaseproof paper which you put in them, then you put them in a paper bag. They could still go in a cool box. There's no problem with that.
Yeah.
But they just didn't use plastics for carrying around sandwiches. Now you pull a thing off a roll and put these sandwiches in it.
Yes. So I suppose it's changing our habits.
So we think we're making progress, but progress.
I think we're making progress. It's a bit
Yeah.
slow. I think we need to be a bit more.
They were more advanced back before they had plastic in
I
their.
think they probably were.
Yes.
So Dan, have you had a good day today asking people about single-use plastics?
Yeah, I think it's been really constructive. It's been great to hear from people, and people seem to be really aware and cottoning on to what's happening. We didn't have anyone who was hostile, and everyone seemed to be really, really engaged. So that's great.
Positive things then. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Cool. So thanks for joining us today, folks, where we've been asking people on the streets about single-use plastics. I think we've had some really great responses. Perhaps people can even start thinking about their own personal use of plastics, and we can all start to think about ways that we can do small things to change for a bigger difference. So go check out Dan the Little Man's Instagram and follow him and check out what he's up to. So if you like the video, give it a like, subscribe for more English learning videos. We'll have some more topics, and remember,
You've got this English Malarkey.
yeah you do. I mean, yeah you do. Yeah you do.